Welcome back, Arcadians. Alex here with another video, and in this week's episode me and Richard are going to look at the state of play of Atari's Sprint 2 from 1976. Now this is quite a big restoration project because both sides of the cabinet have been painted black. We think there might be some artwork underneath, we can just see glimpses of it. But at this stage we can't really tell. We really do need to get this paintwork off. What's exciting about this video, guys, is you are about to see the results of us soaking this cabinet for 6 hours with isopropyl, only to find out that the arcade fairies have been in the middle of the night to reveal what's underneath. Oh my God, look at this, look at this. Welcome back, Arcadians, and we're back in the museum, and today I'm joined by Richard.
Hello, Arcadians.
And today we're going to have a look at the state of play of this Atari Key Games Sprint 2 from 1976. Yeah, this is quite special, this game, because this is the first racing game to have a microprocessor. So this evolved from Grand Track 10 and Grand Track 20. Which didn't have a computer-controlled car, but because this had a microprocessor, it allowed the developers to add that in, which made it that much more special.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? So
it's really good.
6502 processor,
yeah.
Basic at the time, but they managed to squeeze quite a lot out of it. 2-player controls and AI interactive vehicles as well. So,
I noticed they
really
did do away with the brake pedal, which they had on Grand Track 10 and 20.
Okay, so you've just got accelerate, you've got the gear shift, and the steering.
I think you can brake if you just spin the wheel a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of spin off the track, but yes. It's in a bit of a state, isn't it, Richard?
It is, but for 46 years old, I think it's remarkable. I mean, I've not seen a control panel on Sprint 2 that looks that good. The ones, a few others on YouTube and things that have got quite beat up. So I think the control panel's looking great. Yeah. We haven't got any cracks around here and on the plastics. We've actually got our original Key Games mouldings that fit on the top of there, which is really nice. It's nice to see that. So, and they feel good. They feel pretty strong. So from a controls point of view and a mechanical point of view, I think it's not too bad. It has got a little bit of rust and a little bit of restoration needed. But you'll dive straight into that, I'm sure. You're going to really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I've been watching a few videos, a few of Joe's videos as well. I noticed like the cylinder inside here can crack, can't it?
It can, yeah, that's right.
Seems to be good, doesn't it?
It does seem to be good. I mean, how long it'll last, we're not sure, but at least we've got the originals. So if they do break, we can scan them, we can reproduce them if we need to. But everything, the gear shifts, the pedals, everything looks good. So from a sort of a starting point, it's a good machine to get stuck into. The cardboard bezel looks good inside there. There's a little bit of dust on. But we're missing a little bit on the back, aren't we, I think? So we'll have to sort that.
Should we have a look at the hardware in the back?
I think it's a good idea, maybe we whip this round and take a look inside.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Right, looking in the back of this, Richard, it looks completely dusty, dirty. It needs a really good clean, doesn't it?
It does. It will need a good clean, but other than that, it's surprisingly good for 46 years old. Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, we've got a couple of wiring issues we'll have to figure out. There's been a few bits hacked on. We've got some little filter here going on.
Yeah.
It's looked like they've been mounted originally. We've got the metal case. And we've also got the RFI shield, which was done for meeting the FCC regulations. They actually used to pop this one on the back there, and then this cable went into the top. But I think the first thing that most people did when they got it on site was to take that off, because it was often the cause of problems. Right. Running AC through these boards was never a good idea. So it's amazing that it's actually in in the machine, but I think it's
don't
not
need it.
surprising that it's been taken out. Yeah, and the FCC was very hot on regulations back in those days.
And that's why it's mounted in this cage.
That's why it's got a massive Faraday cage around it and everything else. So actually, I don't even think, and why this is all metalized on here, because this was screwed onto the back here, created an entire Faraday cage basically for the electronics. So it's probably not even as bad as you know, you would get nowadays. So I don't think we'll need any of that. But
because I notice it's wired straight to the board now.
Yeah, and that does seem a common thing. The other machines we've seen that people have restored, that seems to be the common thing. They actually cut the wires because you've got AC power going through here, and they burn out the edge fingers. So they end up soldering them on there. So we will have to snip those off if we want to get it out of the wiring loom. But we also think we can probably take out some of these pieces in. Yeah,
the shelf here that melts it all. It looks like it's just screwed in either side, and this can be pulled right out. So we get right inside here. There's a big void down here that needs a real good clean. There's loads of junk floating about in the bottom.
It's all sorts, isn't there? So I think maybe if we unscrew some of these wires, the monitor looks like it just unbolts and comes out. We've got a connector on the back here, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Lovely black and white monitor, of course, really big screen. I think it's 22, 24 inch, something like that. So very simple technology. All of that on there should be quite easy to get up to date and sort of just renovate it a bit. We've got a couple of capacitors at the back that will definitely, and a few in the middle. So we'll change all the capacitors.
You'd change a lot of them, would you?
Yeah, definitely. After 46 years, you're just asking for trouble. But yeah, we've got the high voltage plug in there. So yeah, we should be okay. It's a little bit risky just powering it up, so we definitely aren't going to do that until we've given it a good once.
And you can test all this outside the cabinet while I start on the cosmetics.
That's
which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, if we get all of this out, we can actually bench test a lot of this. So getting it out of the machine is a really good plan at this stage, because it will be much easier to test each part. First of all, come through from the power, test all the transformer, make sure all those voltages are fine. We can have all this unplugged, make sure they're coming through here okay. Then there's a great big regulator on here, and also some capacitors and diodes that will definitely need to change, because they'll all be too old. They're all very leaky and just sort of going to cause you issues. So yeah, I think we should probably get it all out.
So I can then lay it on its side.
That's what you want to do, isn't it? So yeah, so Alex is going to try and restore the side art. We'll see what's under there.
We don't know if there's any side art, but you can see glimpses of orange paint, which is what the side art is. It's got this beautiful side art.
Oh, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? Very big.
And it would be amazing if it was under there, because this would be really striking.
They painted over for it for a reason, so...
Yeah, why?
Why? I don't know.
You can't change the game around, can you? They haven't done that.
So I can only imagine that it's scratched up and then someone's decided to paint it over it just to stop the scratching. But even if it's scratched up, it's still going to be, it's better than black, isn't it? And we want to see the sides in all of the museums. So looking good. Okay, I think we should start taking it apart.
Yeah. We've got the monitor out.
We've got the monitor out, we've got the electronics out, we've got the main board. Some interesting observations on the main board. We've got a little chip basically jumping out of the socket.
And this one here,
And we look like we're missing some RAM chips. So we've got the ROMs, but not the RAMs. So we'll have to source
all gold-plated ones, aren't they? Which we had back then. Very
early, These are some of the earliest MOS 6502s. Pretty rare.
You were saying about the monitor here being quite slim, being a black and white monitor.
Yeah, this is a 20, we think it's about a 25 inch.
25 inch is huge.
And serial number, it's either Hitachi or Motorola screen, but yeah, very narrow. If we sort of slide it round, we can
just see that there. Look, it's got Atari label actually on the
1976,
Wow.
Yeah, so they've obviously rebranded. These were just basically black and white TVs that they stripped down and put in there. But yeah, it's a very slimline monitor, so it only actually goes back very short distance. The deflection angle on a black and white was very shallow, so the colours are much deeper. But yeah, this electronics on here should clean up really nicely. We've got some capacitors to replace, and with a bit of luck, we might be able to get that going. But before we do anything on that, because it's 110 volts as well, so we've got to put an isolating transformer in and step down that voltage. But before we do that, yeah, we'll have to give it a super good clean and just check everything.
With one of Neil's little blowers here.
Excellent. So does that blow or suck? That blows. I got to turn this on.
So the next step of the restoration is to try and get some of this paintwork off on the side. How could anyone paint on the side of this cabinet? I do not know, because it's got the most beautiful artwork. It's so striking and it really pops. It makes this cabinet. So to get this paintwork off, what we're going to have to do is lay some kitchen roll out and then soak it in the isopropyl. Now, I've never done this before, so I thought I'd just target this small area at the bottom of the cab first, just to see if it works. What the kitchen roll does, it just contains the alcohol in that specific area. If you didn't use the kitchen roll, you're just going to make a mess. It's just going to go absolutely everywhere. Now I'm going to seal the kitchen roll with cling film. Now what this does is it stops the evaporation process. This is really important, because if we don't stop it evaporating, it's not going to have time to eat into the paintwork, and this isopropyl evaporates really quickly. So it's really important to seal all around the edges and all on top, and just firm it down with your hands, just making sure there's no gaps. So after I've done all this, given it 2 hours, it was quite late in the afternoon, I thought I'd try and have a little peek just to see what was underneath. So I just gently rubbed the paint with my nail and a bit of tissue just to see if it started to work. And to my amazement, it was. You could see the artwork, but the paint was still really thick. It was like a tar. I was really struggling to get it off still. So I even tried using a small painter's trowel, just gently shaving away at the paintwork without damaging the side art underneath. This was quite therapeutic, but it just took so long. At this point, I'm thinking this alcohol needs much more time. It needs at least 5 or 6 hours, but I had to leave. But the trouble is, with leaving it on overnight, is by the time you arrive the next morning, it would have all evaporated and the paint would have just gone back to its normal state of really being quite hard and quite tar-like. But thankfully, good old Richard agreed to come back after about 5 hours later that night, just at the point where it's had enough time to eat into the paintwork but hasn't evaporated, and this was key. So unfortunately, I had to wait until the next morning before I could see the results. I mean, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but at the same time I was extremely excited. Right, Arcadians, we're back at the museum this morning, and I've got butterflies because I'm super excited. I've got a feeling Richard's been in overnight. Well, I know he has. I know he's been back overnight, but he wouldn't say what he's found. So I'm just hoping that he's found some artwork. So let's go and have a look. I'm really excited about this, guys. This is super exciting. If this cabinet has got artwork, it will just blow me away, because it is the most beautiful artwork. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. How cool is that? Oh, Richard, well done. Looks amazing. Who would have thought it, guys? Who would have thought it? I mean, it just looks absolutely incredible. It really does. Oh, I need to find out how Richard did this. Guys, this is the following day, and it looks like the arcade fairy's been in the middle of the night and taken the paint off. Richard.
I did. I popped in almost close to midnight before I left. But actually, to be fair, it didn't take too long. We waited about 5.5 hours with the IPA soaked kitchen towel covered in cling film. And when I came in, I could just see it starting to dry out slightly. Yeah. And it was all quite bubbled up underneath. So actually, plastic scraper.
And it worked.
Got a whole lot off. So,
and how long did it take you to get it off?
And not that long. The big scraper got off quite a lot of the chunks of it, and then I was just going over the bits that were a little bit more sticky, and microfiber cloth. That's what we worked out. Microfiber cloth, a little bit of IPA. That was getting all of the rest off.
That got all the stuff off around the edges.
Yeah. You finished off this morning around the edges. But look how amazing that is.
It's absolutely stunning, guys. Who would have believed this would have been underneath that black paint, and why?
Why would you cover it over? Why would you cover that over? Yeah. To be fair, for the museum, they've done us a favour though. We've been saying all day that actually that black paint's probably kept it in wonderful condition under there. It's preserved it, where it could have got scratched up, being scraped around in people's attics and things.
It's one of the most exciting things I've actually done in the hobby, to be fair.
Brilliant.
I've never actually taken on a cab in this state before. And I've taken on some real dodgy ones, but this was amazing.
It was good.
To see this under there was just unbelievable.
I was a bit surprised. I was expecting it to be scraped up, or at least some parts of it.
Some damage. That's what we thought they might be covering up some of the damage.
Yeah, definitely. I was really quite surprised when more and more of it revealed, because I think you did a little bit at the bottom, didn't you? And you could just see, but by the time I got to here, I realised it was in perfectly good condition. Yeah,
so I've gone over it with a magic sponge, and it's got most of the dirt off. Some of the scratches, these bits here are sort of embedded in. Yeah. The paint's got into the dents. But overall, you could say it almost looks, from my eye anyway, because I ain't got the best of eyes, but it looks brand new.
It is. The lustre of the paint finish, the silk screen finish, still looks great. It still looks shiny. It still looks good. So
the wood's really strong, solid. Down the bottom, it's quite weak. Obviously, it's had some damp damage at some point, but we're going to fill that in. Put new T-moulding all the way around. And then we've got the other side to do. I
was going to say, you have the other side to do. But at least we know now, we just need to leave it about 5 hours, and we should...
It does the work for us.
Does most of the work for you, So that's really
good. In the next video, we're going to have a look at the monitor and the PCB, Richard, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to clean up the electronics. There's a few things that have been hacked around, a few things that have been fallen off, that sort of thing. So we're just going to check that everything is there that's supposed to be. Any bits that's missing, we're going to try and source, and eventually get to a point where we can power it up and try it. Yeah. Maybe out of the machine, so we can actually just try and tune everything, see if we can get it going. The sound, that's always a little bit tricky to get going. So we'll see how we get with that, and then slowly and surely, when this gets back...
I'll be working on this. Yeah, this will be ready for you when the game's ready. So be
can't
fun
wait
installing this again.
Can't wait to try it out. Yeah. And we know the control panel's in good condition. That just need a little bit of IPA just to clean that up.
Yeah, and the front here, if we just move it around. At the front of the cabinet here, it's got a horrible matte black paint. Yeah. Which is not great, because it's in the worst position for people to kick it. So it's going to be marked up. So maybe a Saturn, maybe something like that. We'll take the coin door off, rub that down, respray that as well. Rework some of these coin mechs. The pedals are okay, Richard, aren't they?
Pedals look good, yeah. That whole bottom section's pretty good condition, really. So,
overall, it's not too bad.
Might need to change the light.
Yeah.
See whether that's still okay or not. But because that's probably still 110 volts, so we might want to change that. But we'll see.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in part 2, hopefully very soon.
Yeah. Until next time.
Cheers.